Hey guys, it's Shiv Haria here from Lifestyle Property People, and today we are tackling an amazing question, which is, are people that help you to build property portfolios, whether they are property sourcers, just simply sourcing the property, or end-to-end service providers like ourselves who help you to source the property, purchase it, refurbish it and rent it, are these companies really worth it? And I think this is such an interesting question because all the time people say, well, I think I could just do it myself. I just get involved, I speak to an estate agent and I go and view the property, or I don't view the property. I put an offer in and hey presto, I own the property. It's just not that simple. The process from end to end, from start of onboarding a client and sourcing a property for them to when we actually complete and receive rent, can take you between 8 and 10 months. It's a long process, and there's so many stakeholders to keep updated throughout that entire process. What do I mean by stakeholders? People that need to understand what's going on and when it's going on. Who are the stakeholders? So obviously you'll be a stakeholder. You'll have the seller, they'll be a stakeholder, their solicitors, your solicitors, the estate agent will be a solicitor, will be a stakeholder. You'll also have the mortgage advisor, the survey company, the project manager, the builders and tradespeople, the insurance company, the lender. There's so many people to keep updated throughout the entire process. There are three main reasons why people choose to come and work with end-to-end service providers like ourselves. And the first one is really pretty obvious. Like I said, it takes 8 to 10 months to do this process, and there's a long list of things that we need to do. We start from, we've got to find the properties, whether it's on Rightmove or by ringing the estate agent. We then have to book the viewings in. We then have to go and do the viewings. And if you live in the area that you want to invest in, that might be reasonably easy for you. But if you live away from the areas that you want to invest in, and we all know that the north is where the best returns are. So if you don't live in the north and you live in the south, or you live abroad and you want to invest in the UK, then really you're going to need someone to go and do that those viewings for you. Once you've done the viewings, you then need to assess the refurbishment cost, then assess the whole property deal and see what the offer price is going to be, call the estate agent, offer them the value that you want to offer, negotiate with them, and only once you've been through that extensive back and forth of negotiation can you then secure the property by instructing the solicitors and the mortgage advisor, etc. You then go through this period of probably at least 3 or 4 months of going through getting the mortgage application in, getting the mortgage valuation sorted out, the offer out. You then need to go through a process of making sure that the legal title is correct, getting the searches done, raising inquiries to those searches. After you've done the legal process, you then need to go and make sure you've got the precondition checks done. So we go to the property, make sure that the property is as we found it 2 or 3 months ago, or 4 or 5 months ago when we actually initially viewed it, because in the process something might have broken, the tenants might no longer be there, maybe even that the window's been smashed in or something like that. So you need to go and make sure that the property is in the same condition that you actually viewed the property in, because once you've exchanged on the property, once you buy the property, you can no longer really go back to the seller and say, hey, look, this is different to what you initially sold me. Once you've completed on the property, we then obviously need to go and refurbish the property. So we need to create a schedule of works. We need to do our gas and electric checks before. We tend to do them before completion, but people can do them after completion. We've got to create the schedule of works, go and find the tradespeople, bring them back to the property, show them what to do and where to do it, how to do it, etc. And then on a weekly basis, keep in touch with them to make sure they're actually doing that work. Once they've done that, we then need to go to find a letting agent, or if you want to do it yourself, there's a huge number of tick lists that you need to get done. This is a legal process to tenant a property, and if you don't do it right, you might find it very difficult to evict your tenants if you ever have to do that as well. So the whole process is really lengthy, and we want to make sure that we're able to do it in an efficient way and not make any mistakes throughout the whole process. So the first point is that we will take away the legwork from you, because the fact is that you're probably quite a busy person. You're probably working in a high paid job, and so your hourly rate is going to be much higher. I think we worked out that it's going to take about 15 days or something, full days over the course of this period. Well, if you're, I don't know, on let's just say £100 a day, 15 times 100 is a lot of money. So really you've got to ask yourself, is that worth it? The second thing is the expertise that a company like ours brings. And obviously we have 14, 15 people working in the company. Each person brings their own expertise, from the person that goes to view the property, what they're viewing, how they're viewing it, etc., to the project manager that prices up the refurbs, to the sourcer, that the deal negotiator who negotiates the deal with the estate agents. and make sure that we get the best possible price. So we need to know the exact process, and also when things come up, which they will, that throw you off. So for example, it could be that, you know, the lender says we can't lend on this property because of this reason or that reason or the other reason, or they might say we're going to down value the property because of this reason or that reason. There's so many things that could go wrong throughout that process, and I think we actually do a series on this at some point. But all those things, there's got to be a way to navigate those challenges to make sure we get the best out of them. So for example, if a lender down values a property, what do? Well, you can just let that property go, but you're already probably £2,000 or £3,000 worth of cost into this purchase, and that's going to be a sunk cost unless you know how to recover that. And the way that we would go about recovering that, because we have a set process, is to make sure we in the first instance, go back to the seller and negotiate with them and show them the report and say, look, the property has been down valued, it's not worth what you think it's worth, this is what it's really worth. And usually in those instances we tend to get some sort of movement from the seller. If we don't get a full movement from the seller, we'll request at least a halfway movement. So if it's a £150,000 property but it's been valued at 145, we'll try to complete at 147,500. And the reason for that is because when a lender down values a property, you've got to realise it's not because they think that the property is worth necessarily less than than you think it's worth, or than that you're willing to pay for it. It's because the fact is that the value of a property, the value of anything, is what someone's willing to pay for it. In this instance, it's just that when the lender goes out, they may have a different attitude to risk on this, and that's why they valued it lower. So this entire process requires a bunch of expertise to know what to do, when to do it, which buttons to push, which people to use. And the expertise also come in handy when we think about the third reason. And the third reason is the relationships that a company like ours will have with all of the partners that we're going to use in order to get this service completed for you efficiently and effectively. And what do I mean by the partners? Well, the first partner is going to be the estate agent. The estate agent, when you negotiate with them, if they know you and you're friends and you see them every week for the last 10 years, then they're probably likely to deal with a bit of negotiation and just say to you, yeah, do you know what, this is the amount that the vendor is really looking for. If you're a new person, you've never met the estate agent before, or you're just trying to get your foot in the door, the likelihood is they're not going to give you the time of day to be able to negotiate the price. So generally speaking, we can probably sell ourselves between £5,000 and £10,000 just on the negotiation with the estate agent, because we have those relationships. As well as that, we also need to have relationships with the letting agency, because we need to make sure we get the best price there and the best service. And that also extends to the solicitor, the mortgage advisor, the insurance broker, the project manager, the contractors. There's a whole bunch of people that are involved in this process of making sure we get that property set up for a buy-to-let purpose, that we need to make sure we have relationships with all of them so we can get them out at the right time and at the right price. The price is one thing, but also the right time. So for example, if we complete on a property today and we want the refurb team to start, if they start in a month from now because they've got lots of other things going on, then really you're going to have paid an extra month worth of mortgage payments out, which you don't really want to do. And that could be, £500-700. What we want to do instead is say, well, we know all these people already, and we're going to have them lined up and ready to go because we've got the expertise of the process, so we know when it's going to come down, so that when your property completes, we don't waste time before we start the refurb process. Then the next question that people always ask me is, well, okay, fine, I'm convinced that we should probably use a company to be able to do some of these bits to set up the property portfolio, because of the fact that they take away the legwork, because of the fact that they have the expertise of the process and they know exactly what they're doing, they have a tried and tested model, and they have done it before, and also because of the fact they have the relationships in the area to be able to get these discounts, to be able to understand how to resolve problems when they need to. But if we know we need to use a company, what are the things that we need to look out for when selecting a company? And this is a really, really important thing. Now, the thing that you need to look out for, the first thing, whenever you choose to work with anyone, is whether your values align with their values. And that's really important. If your values don't align, then there'll be instances where you have to make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed in all your terms and conditions, because that's the only way of making sure that you're going to get a favourable outcome. If, on the other hand, your values do align, then usually you're not really relying on the contract or the agreement or anything like that. You're relying on this shared understanding between the two of you. At the end of our service, we ask all of our clients what are the 3 words that they would use to describe our service. And they always use the same 3 words. And that's what we think our own values are. The first one is transparent. And that is when it comes to communicating anything with the client, communicating challenges that we're having, and also our pricing. There is complete transparency in what we do, how we charge for it, and how we're going to go about resolving challenges. The second value that we have is professionalism. And what we're trying to do is our clients are professionals, so we want to act in a professional manner with them to make sure that everything that we're doing and saying is efficient. It's got them in mind. So for example, when we send out our agreements for them to sign, they're usually sent out on Sign Now, DocuSign, e-signature software, because we know that most people are going to view this on their phone and they want to sign with their finger. They don't want to print it out, because then they've got to go and find a printer to print it out from. So we want to be really professional throughout the whole process. And as a way to see professionalism is by having a look at the accreditations that this company has. So we've got a number of accreditations. So we've got the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office. We've got the TPO, the Property Ombudsman, and we've also got the NRLA, the National Residential Landlords Association. These are all the accreditations that we tend to have as property professionals in this industry. The third value that's really, really important is approachability. What we want to do is we want to make sure that whilst we're being professional and we're doing everything the right way, that if our clients have any questions or concerns, that they feel free to bring them to us. We want to go on a journey with our clients. We want the client to share in this journey with us. Now, they don't have to, and I'll talk about that in a second, but we have the way that we build approachability is by making sure that, number one, we have a WhatsApp group that's open with our clients, and they can ask questions at any time of the day and night, and we encourage them to ask the littlest of questions so that they can also come on this journey with us and they can understand the decisions that we're making about their property portfolio. So it's really important that your values align. That's the first thing that you want to look at when you're looking at who to work with. The second thing you want to look at is track record. Now, again, this is really important because you don't want to work with a company that's, it's their first deal or their second deal or their third deal that they're doing, because if it is, they're probably going to have a lot of teething issues, a lot of things that might go wrong. They may even miss steps in the process. When we first started buying properties for ourselves, for the first 9 properties that I bought, I didn't get a survey done. And the reason why I didn't get a survey done is because I didn't know that we needed to get a survey. So it's only after doing this literally hundreds of times that we know that our process is smooth, it's efficient, it does things in exactly the right way, and it's correct, it works. It's a tried and tested process, and that's really important. A way of trying to figure out whether a company has these attributes is to go and have a look at their Google reviews. If a company has 2 or 3 or 5 Google reviews, then you probably know, well, you know what, they may not be the kind of company that I'm looking to work for. On the other hand, if a company has done this over 400 times and has over 100 Google reviews, then maybe you think to yourself, well, that's the kind of company that, they've obviously doing something right in order to be getting, 100 5-star Google reviews. The third thing to look for when you're looking to find somebody to help you build your property portfolio is whether they offer an end-to-end service. A company like ours doesn't just offer a service where we source the properties for you, because guess what? Once we've sourced it, we still need to purchase it, refurbish it and rent it in order for it to be a success. The challenge sometimes that you have with property sourcers who source a property for you is that once they've sourced it and they've taken their fee, they don't want to have anything to do with it. That means that if it doesn't complete, if there's a problem with it through the due diligence process, then you'll lose your money. Likewise, if the refurbishment project goes over budget, or if the rent comes in under budget, you don't get your money back, because that's just the way it is, and they sold you the sourcing, the property, they didn't sell you the deal. So a company like ours, an end-to-end service like ours, takes responsibilities for every aspect of that process. So from onboarding to sourcing, purchasing, refurbishing and renting, we'll do the whole end-to-end process, and we'll take responsibility over the whole process to make sure you get the result that you ultimately want. The fourth thing that we want to look for is whether the company has awards and features. As a company, we've won the Best Customer Service Award in the National Business Awards. We've also won the Best Property Investment Agency of the Year. And as a person, I've won, as an entrepreneur, I've won Property Entrepreneur of the Year in the year 2000 and the year 2022. In terms of features, we've been featured in the BBC, we've been featured in the Telegraph, in the Times, and also in the Guardian. So we're a well-known company, a safe pair of hands, and a trusted company to do business with. The fifth thing that we offer that not many other people offer is a money-back guarantee. If you want to reduce the risk or take away the risk completely of you doing something, you want the company that you work with to have a money-back guarantee. I was recently looking to work with a company to do some marketing work for me, and they kept telling me how they're absolutely amazing. They're the best company in this entire country to do this specific thing that I wanted them to do. And I said to them, well, if you believe in yourself so much, why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Why don't you say to me, I will either get paid on results, or you can say to me, you can pay me, but if it doesn't work, then I will get my money back. And that's exactly what we do. You pay us our fee up front, but at the end of the day, we know that what our clients want is they want to own a property and they want it to have a good return. And if I Google what a good return is, it's more than a 5% gross yield. So we want to own a property and have more than a 5% gross yield. And in our company, if you follow our instructions throughout the process and you follow our recommendations and you don't own a property and have a return, a gross yield of more than 5% at the point that we let the property, then we will refund you our service management fee. That's how confident we are that we're going to go through this process and get you the end result that you're looking for. And the final thing, and this is the most important thing to ask anybody that you're working with, are you buying the same properties that you're selling to me? And the reason why this is really important is because we want to work with people that talk the talk, but also walk the walk, that also do the same things that they're asking you to do. And I, as myself and my whole team as well, we invest in buy-to-let properties in the same areas, the same kind of properties in the same areas with the same partners, because we know that they work. Because we know that they work and we know that we're here for the long term, it also means that throughout the process, throughout the period of the next 10 or 20 years, if something goes wrong in the market, if something changes, it's going to affect my portfolio just the same way that it's going to affect your portfolio. So that means that it's not just a case of we've done this service for you and we'll wash our hands of you. We've done this service for you, but if something changes in 5 years' time and it's going to affect me, for example, if the management agent is going to increase their rates, I'm going to go and negotiate on behalf of me, but I might as well then say to you, guess what? I've negotiated on behalf of me, but can we now roll out this revised management rates to all of our clients as well? So whatever affects me also affects you. And that's the benefit of working with a company that has somebody that is buying the same properties that they're selling to you and using the same partners that they are recommending to you. So those are the reasons why I think that you want to look out for when searching for a good portfolio building company to work for. And remember, don't forget, if you have got any questions, then get in touch with me. But in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast if you want to know more, if you want more property investing tips or insights. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.